Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for joining our webinar today, and we will be going through 32Soft's Customer Work Center. So basically, what is CWC? That's just a short form. It is an online self-serve site. It's targeted towards external users without direct access to QAD. So we're talking about your customers, distributors, your sales reps, your service engineers, anyone that needs to look up information. And basically, CWC, it's just a simplified and easy-to-use interface, so users can view, track, enter, and print orders and invoices, as well as quotes and RMA requests. It has built-in security to filter information, so depending on the role that's assigned to you, and we'll go through the security setup and matrix, is depending on the role that's assigned to you with your customer, it will restrict what information you see in the portal. So you would not be able to see customers that are not assigned to you as a sales rep, or as a customer you won't be able to see any other customer information. So what are some of the features of Customer Work Center? Like I said previously, you can track orders throughout the fulfillment process. You can query the availability and pricing of items. Depending, again, in the security matrix, you can restrict the price list that customers or users have access to. You can also submit quote requests, and you can convert those approved quotes into an order directly into QAD through CWC. You can certainly look up invoiced orders, you can reprint invoices, you can submit RMA requests, you can run reports online, and we also allow online registration and approval process, and we'll go through that. And the nice thing about CWC is really there's minimal maintenance by IT. It's you have an admin person, and the admin person would be able to go in and do approvals. Then they can change some of the menu links, and we can go into that in detail during the presentation. So then what are some of the benefits? Like I said, it streamlines and simplifies the order entry and quote process. We've reduced the screens to a couple of fields, so it's very quick to enter orders and quotes into QAD. And it allows non-QAD users the ability to enter those orders directly into the system, or quotes, as well as RMA requests. And as we go through the demo, there'll be questions asked like, well, we don't want our customers to enter orders directly. Well, you can have those orders go in as unconfirmed or the quotes as unapproved. But at least there is no repeat of information being entered. Customers don't have to send it to you in email. They can just enter it directly, and you don't have errors when you have to double enter information. And one of the other benefits is it provides easy access to pricing and inventory availability and order tracking, and this reduces the number of calls into customer service, so they're not constantly getting requests from customers, where's my order, what's the status of it, hey, can you send me my invoice, I don't seem to have a copy, or what's the availability of this item, and what's the pricing. The other thing that we find with CWC with our RMA request screen is it reduces the time spent for customer service to validate an item that's coming back. And because when they enter an RMA request, all of that information pre-populates, and we'll go through that during the demo. So let us now go to the demo. And are we good? You guys can see the screen? All right, so this is our homepage for the Customer Work Center. Let's just do this. This is actually the page that you get when you link to it. So you would enter in your user ID, or actually it's your email address. And we have a link here. You can register a new user if you like, and I'll show you when we get into the main screen how you can approve that. So there is an online registration process. But the first screen, the home page that you see, is this. And you can change the background image. We do allow you to change the background image. One thing to remember is this is really an internal site. So it's not a marketing portal. We do allow some changes to the look of the application, but for the most part, it's minimal. We wanted to keep this very simple and easy to manage. So we allow you to change the background image, and these are a couple of placeholders here if you want to put links to video or, you know, notifications and stuff. And then, of course, the labels up here in the header, it's managed through your admin person, and these usually are links to your external site. So that's just, you know, for the home page. What you'll see is a menu on the left-hand side, and you can go through the menu, and this is your product availability screen. This allows the user to look up pricing and availability for items, and they can type in an item number. The item field and the customer name fields are auto search enabled, which means that you can type in partial descriptions or item numbers or numbers, and it will be validated against either item master in QAD or customer master. So when you type in partial item, you select that, and you can select a price list. As I had mentioned previously, based on your security, the role assigned to you, you can limit the price list that the user would see. So if you had a customer and they only see, you know, price list for that customer, it would default for them, and they would only see pricing that's applicable to them. The item, the results you would see would give you the quantity available, and we work with you on the logic, whether it's quantity on hand minus, you know, demand or whatever. We would work with you on the logic on what to display for available quantity, and of course the price. There's lead time. You can add another column here if you have additional information, but again, we try to keep it as simple as possible. There's also a little icon here for product attributes. If you click on that, what we have here is just a little pop-up with some additional attributes, but some of our other customers actually use this placeholder and have it linked to a schematic or you know, a document, anything related to that item number. So that is a possibility here. The next menu item is order status. This one is a great feature for customers, sales reps, because here you can look up information yourself on your order. You can do it by PO number, the sales order number, if you were looking up, you know, by invoice number. Again, here's the customer name, and this is auto search enabled. What they would see if you are a customer or a rep is a select list of customers based on your role and what's been assigned to you. As admin, of course, you can see everything. Now, this is not a full list. This is only displaying the, you know, the first however many. But when you start typing in, you would see a listing of the closest matches from customer master in QAD. So you could select a customer. You can do it by an item number. Again, you know, it's auto search enabled against item master. And you can do a date range. And let's just do this, open it up. This is against our database or demo database, so it doesn't have a huge number of orders. But once you do a order status search, if you leave things open, you will see a list of orders being displayed. We have columns up here. It will display the status of that shipment, whether it's confirmed or not. Now, if this isn't something that you need, this can certainly be changed to another field from, say, order entry that you want to see instead, right? So that's, you know, these are some of the things that can be changed. But basically it gives you information about the orders. The ones that are in blue are hyperlinks, so if you just click on that, it will give you a little pop-up and it will show you just an order summary. Basically, you know, here's your customer, here are the line items. If you do commissions in QAD, it can display the commission. Now, if you were a customer role, this field obviously would not be visible to you. But you can take a look at the pricing, ship dates, due dates, and stuff like that. You have a couple of icons here in the pop-up. One of them is the sales order print, and this is just a call into the standard sales order print from QAD, that's 713. So as you see, here's the order in QAD. We also have a summary, and what this one does is it just gives you just a summary view that you can print off. If there was shipping information, you would see that displayed with the bill of lading number. Okay. If there is, let's take a look and see if we have any. If the order has already been shipped complete and it's been invoiced, what you will see is the invoice number as well as the invoice date. Again, this is a hyperlink, so if you want, you can just click on that and it gives you a pop-up with the invoice information. And another icon that says you can reprint that invoice, and again, this is the standard QAD invoice reprint 71312, and it would just give you a copy of the invoice. So, you know, for customers and reps, it's nice because they can do this themselves instead of having customer service do that for them and email it to them. The next menu item is order entry. And again, what we've done here is we've simplified the order entry process, so there are only a number of fields that you need to fill in. First off, you select your customer, and it defaults to a ship to. You can change that. As you can see, any ship tos assigned to that customer will be displayed, or you can add a new one on the fly. And then you have a couple of mandatory fields. Of course, you need your PO number, if there's a project name, shipping information, if there's special shipping, if there is a carrier account number. So if they're using their own FedEx number, you can put it here. And I'll show you where this information comes into the order in QAD. And then, of course, you could put in your customer contact information or their customer email and any comments that you may have. And all of this information here, all of these, will all be written into the header comments in 711. Okay? So if you need to enter line items, you just type in a part number. You can put in your due date, your required date, whatever date you want. And then you can either put in a price list or you can leave this blank. And this is where we work individually with you on the pricing logic, on how you want the items to be priced, whether it's QAD best pricing, whether it's a list of price lists. That's all customizable. So you save the line. And then, of course, you can also put in line comments. Okay. And then this is just a review screen here. Nothing has gone into QAD at this point. This is your review screen. It says, hey, you know, here's all the information. You can certainly hit this to edit. If you need to edit the header, there's another edit button at the line level. But you'll notice that the pricing has defaulted based on QAD best pricing logic. And that's the way we have it set up for a demonstration. But again, like I said, that can be set up based on your pricing logic. So when you're ready to submit that, you hit the submit, and that automatically goes into QAD. That is real time, and the link here makes the call into QAD, and this is, like I said, the standard sales order print, so this can be used as your acknowledgement, and you can see that the order is now in QAD, all of that information that we entered in the header, carrier account, customer contact, phone number, emails, all of that is written here into the header comments, and then again you see that the line comments has also flowed through. Okay. The next screen we're going to look at is quote status. The quote status screen is very similar to order status. You have a couple of selection fields here. Again, you can do it by customer, and of course that's limited to whatever is assigned to you in your security record. You can do it by item number, you can do it as a date range. We have these radio buttons here, whether it's a blanket or non-blanket. Again, you don't have to use those. These are just some of the generic things that we have here. And once you do that, you have a listing of the quotes based on the selection criteria that you have. The column headers are just very standard, and they can be changed. If you don't use project name, obviously, you can have something else here, what type it is. You can have a status saying whether it's approved or not. So again, the quote number is a hyperlink, and all it does is, oh, that's a bad one, it's just a little summary screen here, and it shows you, what you've entered, what's in the quote, what the price is, if there's commission, and again you have a couple of icons up here. So this is again a call into quote print, standard QAD quote print, and so you see the quote here, and then this would this little button, it prints to email. So if there was an email assigned, you could email that quote directly. And then you have a couple of you have an icon here at the end, and what this one does is, if the quote has been approved in QAD, you can actually release this. And what it does is it automatically opens up the order entry screen, and it pre-populates the quote number and the items on that quote. The way we've set it up in our demo is, normally you would have it default to whoever the quote was assigned to, but you could have quotes set up for a rep, and these are like blanket quotes for his region or for a group of hospitals. And this, we only did it this way to show you that, we could leave this blank, and then they would be able to select the customer that the quote applies to, or you could have it that it only the customer defaults to whoever the rep or to whoever the quote was assigned to. So, or set up for. But it pre-populates all of that information, and then you would again, for here, just pick up information and can proceed. Oh, appeal. And you'll notice that with this one, there is a warning here. So if there are some errors, you'll see some warning messages pop up, right? And that this particular quote, the price list wasn't valid. So there are some warning messages that come up, but that's one of the nice features about the quote status page, is you can convert directly into an order. That feature can be, enabled or disabled depending on what you would like your reps or your customers to do. The quote request screen is, again, simplified just like the sales order screen. You would pick your rep number. We could have that default depending on your security record. You can put in your project name if you have one. You can put in the email address, and this is the email that it will be sent to when you saw that little icon that I showed you in a previous screen that you could email the quote to. That's what this email field is. And then, of course, you pick your customer, and you pick thing, and you can put in pricing. And then you can submit that. And that's really all you need to submit a quote. And here, if the logic is set up and that the quote is approved or there's no errors with it, that the items exist, pricing is fine, then what you'll see is this screen here that gives you now your quote number. And again, here's a quote. We just make the call. That's direct from QAD, right? And that would print it to email. If there was an error with your quote, you would get a warning message that says that the pricing specialist will review your quote. This is not approved, and these buttons would not exist. So just to show you what that email looks like, you would get a notification if the quote was not approved. The recipient would receive an email that lists what the items are and says, hey, this isn't an approved quote, just so they know that it needs to be reviewed by a pricing specialist. Okay, so that's a quote request. Two other menu items that I'm going to go through very quickly. And one of them is the RMA request. This was discussed in the beginning, that this feature kind of saves customer service time. So this looks very similar to the order status page in that you can search for invoices or orders based on PO, SO, invoice number, date range, and stuff like that. So let's take a look at some closed orders. And let's see if we can return something. So of course with the RMAs, you will only get this icon for items that have already been invoiced, right? So that's what that is. So what you'll see here is it opens up the RMA request screen, and it pre-populates that invoice information. So you've got your original invoice number, date, customer and stuff, and the item numbers with pricing. So when they are requesting an RMA, they could not change the pricing. They can't change, quantity. Logic is set up that you can't return more than what you've purchased originally. All they need to do for the RMA request is enter in the mandatory fields, right? Select a return reason. This can be, set up in GenCodes wherever to pick up whatever return reason you want. So you would select a return reason. You can put in the problem description and comments, and then you know how many you want to return. And the pricing is already there. So they'll see that they're going to return 5, and this was the original price. So you're not giving them credit for something for more than what they've paid for. And then you can just submit that. And that creates the RMA directly into QAD. And again, these are just the standard print, and here's the return reason, and here are the items being returned. So this saves a lot of time for customer service. The customer themselves can put in this request because they know what item, generally they know what item they're trying to return anyways. They can do it for search of invoices, what they purchased previously or the latest one, and they can just select that one and put in the request. Now these can come into QAD as unapproved, so then you have your customer service groups go in to QAD, run a report and says, what are all my unapproved requests, and then they would go in and further validate that. But it certainly saves them time in looking up invoice information, sales order information, stuff like that. And then the other menu item that I want to take you through is a menu called My Reports. And this particular screen can be set up where you can link to existing reports that you have in QAD, or if you have custom reports, we can do links to custom reports for your reps, your customers, whoever you want. We also can set it up that we build in some selection criteria if they want to build their own reports, right? You can do a report type schedule. So we work with you. Basically what I want to show you with this menu is that this is something that we can work with the individual business on to build it the way you want. So if you can build reports online, or you can just have, you know, links to standard reports. So this is a really nice feature because a lot of requests that you get into customer services, hey, can you give me a report on all my, you know, orders, or, you know, what's happening, what's been shipped. So we can certainly have links to existing reports. And then one other one that you see here is call status. So if you have your SSM module enabled and you do work orders like service calls through QAD, that is also a screen that we can set up. So this isn't just limited to sales order or quotes. If you do calls through QAD, we also have menus for that. That's just to show you that this is available. And then you also have a link here, community, customer community, and basically that page is, you know, if you want to do some marketing links there, you can open up that page and it'll take you to a bunch of different links. And then the last one is the user approval. So when I was talking about the security record and how it's set up, we would first assign roles to each of your users. And these are just some of the standard roles. This is just a security matrix that we work with. And these are the different types of roles that we have for CWC. Of course, these can be changed to whatever you like, but these are just some of the standard roles. So you have a role of sales rep. And these are the menus. We would set it up with you that these are the menus that they are allowed to see, and that, you know, the customers are restricted based on the rep code assigned. Right? Managers can also have access, and it will be on the rep code. So they would see all of the accounts and orders, etc., for all of the reps. For customer, again, you would limit them, so they wouldn't necessarily get order entry, but they may get RMA or my reports, whatever. This is entirely up to you. And these are restricted to the accounts assigned to that particular customer. Same with distributors, if you have warehouse people. And then, of course, you have your admin. And they generally don't have restrictions on customer access, right? And then, of course, you have your super admin, and they have, you know, full access to all the menus. So let's take a look at the user approval stage. So generally, when they go through the online registration, which I showed you at the beginning, they would fill in some basic information, and that information would be populated up here. And then what the admin person would do here is they would assign a role, right? Rep, sales rep, whatever. If there was a price list associated with that particular sales rep, then you could put that here. So then when they go to look up product availability, they would only see price list from that specific price list. If you were a rep, you would put in your rep code here, right? And you would assign it. You could add multiple rep codes here. If you were a customer, you could assign the particular customer number here. Again, auto search enabled, so you would just pick that, and then you would just save it. So then when that user goes in, they can only see the accounts that have been assigned to them here. And then, of course, there are some additional fields here. If there are region codes, if you want to sort it by region, that so there are some additional fields that you can put in here. And then you'll see here that there's a default engineer code, and that relates back to the call status. So if you were using the service module, you could set it up that the engineer codes, if they're set up here, they would only see those end users associated with the engineer. And then that is basically our overview of Customer Work Center.